You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Home of the Boston Bruins.
You got it.
I wonder if our good friend Nikolai will be at this show.
I don't think so. I think UFC tickets are pretty steep right now, and I don't think he's buying. I don't think he's that much of a UFC head to pay $200 to see a bunch of guys he doesn't know.
He's probably watching the Patriots-Colts game, but I mean, if we can hook him up with a ring girl, then you never know.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of ring girls, we'll have to talk about that in a minute, too.
There's ring girl news?
Yes, there is ring girl news, but we'll get to that.
Okay, that's news to me. Alright, let's start the prelim card with Takei Matsuda against Joby Sanchez.
Alright.
Interesting, this fight. I don't know why this is on the Fight Pass. I thought this was more of a FS1 fight or TSN fight. I mean, I'm really surprised this fight is this low on the card, but I don't know. I like Matsuda in this one.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with that pick as well. I got no real preference. They're kind of two run-of-the-mill flyweights as far as I'm concerned.
Do you have any opinion on O'Connell and Van Buren?
Yeah, Van Buren will out-wrestle him to a decision.
Okay. Charles Rosa and Sean Soriano.
I would favor Soriano in that fight.
Oh, absolutely. You have to go with him on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Case and Frankie Perez.
Coin flip.
Yeah. I'll go with Perez.
All right. I'll already take Patrick Holohan in the flyweight fight with Shane Howell.
All right. Zhang Leping against Chris Wade.
Leping.
Yeah. Here's a good one. John Howard and Lorenz Larkin.
Yeah, speaking of doom, it's doomsday.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Larkin's pretty good, but Howard is, Howard, I mean.
Howard's got power, and Larkin, he's had some trouble of late. He's lost 4 out of his last 5, so I'm going with Howard in this fight.
Do you think if Larkin loses, he's done?
Well, I think if either one of them loses, they're done, because, I mean, even though I like Howard in this fight, he did lose the last 2 fights in a row, so he needs to get back on track here.
And the main event is Sean Spencer and Cathal Pendred.
I'm going with Cathal.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
Because I feel like he's Conor McGregor, but he's not as famous as Conor McGregor. I feel like he's an Irish fighter that's just as talented and has just as interesting a story, but he hasn't made the name that Conor McGregor has. And I say, give him that chance with a big win on the FS1 prelims, and people are going to know who he is.
It's a great way to make a name for yourself on a show with Conor McGregor. The eyeballs be watching the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got like 3 wins in a row, but all in Europe. 2 in Dublin and 1 in Stockholm. So it's time for Cathal to shine on U.S. soil.
Now we go to the main card on Fox Sports 1. So I really have a problem with this on the same day. I talked about this at the top, but it starts at 10 p.m. So in reality, the only real action, unless it's a really long game, you're going to miss the first fight. The prelims, you're going to miss them because if you're watching football, unless you're doing a split screen thing, you're still going to watch the main card. I mean, 6:30 start time, 3.5 hours. By 10 o'clock, you're either going to be really tired because you watch both title games and then UFC. You might fall asleep. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if they're really that worried about it at this point. They're only worried about getting the live audience in the building and selling enough tickets to make it profitable. I'm not saying this is a throwaway event for them television wise, but I don't think they're worried if it doesn't pull a big rating because people are watching football and don't watch the fights. Because after all, there's the +3 anymore in cable and satellite where if you watch it even within 3 days of DVRing it, it still counts in the Nielsen ratings. So they'll take that +3 and put it in the bank.
Now, I will not be surprised if when the game is over, at the arena at the TD Garden, you're going to hear a Go Pats Go chant if they win.
Probably. People will be checking their smartphones in the building while the fights are going on.
I still like to reference when we were in Montreal when we heard a Go Leafs Go chant at the Bell Center. You're like, wait a minute. What's going on here?
It was kind of odd because we were on their home ice and it's like, no, there are fights going on right now. Obviously they're playing somewhere else.
It'd be like, was it the Iowa Hawkeyes?
What about them?
It'd be like if someone said "Go Hawkeyes" during like you're watching an event at Iowa State Stadium there, and you hear that chant. Like, wait a minute, why the fuck are they saying that?
Yeah, nobody would be stupid enough to chant for the Hawkeyes at Jack Trice Stadium. You'd get booed out of the building.
Booed and assaulted by the security guards, I'll bet.
Probably. The only time people get away cheering for the Hawkeyes are when the Hawkeyes are actually there to play.
All right, let's move on to the main card. Norman Parking against Gleason Tebow.
Well, what do you think's going to happen here, Peter? Come on,
I might shock you with
spot.
this one. I know, I might shock you. I think Park wins in the first round.
I don't know if I consider that a shock because, really, he's not a bad fighter. He hasn't lost since 2010. He had the draw with Leonardo Santos, but that was because he got deducted a point for grabbing Santos short. So, really, in essence, he was winning that fight. So, I'm with you on this one. I like the list of guys he's beat. John Tuck, Kazuki Tokudome, Katani. He is a tough, durable fighter, and he's a good striker, and he's the winner of the Ultimate Fighter Smashes season in the lightweight class. So, Tebow is Tebow. He's really big and really muscular and really fearsome to look at, but he also tends to gas out, and I think Park can outlast him.
All right, well, let's move on to Uriah Hall against Ron Stallings.
Yeah, they drug a warm body into the octagon for Uriah Hall to beat.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was in my news. I'm just going to pull up my news real quick here.
Let me just summarize it for everybody listening. He was supposed to fight Costas Philippou. Philippou was pulled out due to injury. He was replaced by Lewis Taylor. Taylor pulled out due to a strained muscle in his back. UFC fired Taylor, and then
Really?
they found, yeah, he was terminated for pulling out of the fight. So now they've got Stallings taking Taylor's place.
Okay, that part was not on my news. You can fire somebody for pulling a fight to a strained muscle?
They did.
Oh, that's setting a precedent.
Well, I think they were probably pissed off that Taylor pulled out on late notice. They probably thought, you can get over a muscle spasm. You can take this fight. It's just a sprain in your back. And he's like, no, I can't take the fight. My health is more important than my wealth. And they're like, okay, you don't have any wealth then. Your contract's terminated.
Well, I go from one short notice fight to another short notice fight with Donald the Cowboy Cerrone against Benson Henderson.
I love the chutzpah. I love the moxie. I'm still not convinced it was a good idea for Cerrone to take this fight. Everybody is saying that's Donald Cerrone, that's the Cowboy, that's Cowboy style. He will never turn down a fight. He will always take as many fights as he can get. But I just feel, and this is me personally speaking, there is a limit to what the human body can endure. You're not supposed to be taking mixed martial arts combat fights every 2 weeks. It's not good for you.
No. If he wins, he's going to win early. But if Henderson grinds this fight out to the later rounds, you got to favor Smooth Ben Henderson on this one.
And that's his reputation anyway, is when you go to the distance with Ben Henderson, he wins on points. You got to get Ben Henderson out of there. That's your only hope. If you go to the judges with him, you're going to lose.
Well, we do know one thing was for certain. Cerrone will not be giving a Showtime kick.
No, probably not.
Don't think that weapon's in his arsenal.
No. Although, just from his height alone, it doesn't matter if he does a matrix kick. All he's got to do is just throw a kick out there because he's freaking 6 foot tall.
Yeah, well, if he throws a rodeo kick, then I'd laugh.
Yeah, or a roundhouse kick. I mean, let's face it, he's known for doing that. He's taking people's heads off with kicks.
Well, move on to the main event, and Conor McGregor, Dennis Siver. McGregor, as I said last week, is guaranteeing to win this fight in under 2 minutes.
I don't just call the fight, fella. I called the round.
That's one guy with the chutzpah right there.
Yeah, you talk about brass cojones. That's Conor McGregor. He believes in himself like few men have ever believed in themselves.
All right. Well, I'm assuming you're going with McGregor on this one.
Yeah, I'm going with Henderson in the co-main and McGregor in the main.
I'm going to go with Cerrone in the semi-main and McGregor in the main.
Alrighty then.
You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.